Welcome to another episode, and now we are introducing, man, oh man, Coach Mechelle and Coach Mike Marsh. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
The infamous, or the famous, however you look at it.
Infamous.
Infamous?
Yeah.
So, Mechelle Lewis-Freeman, obviously, you are no stranger, either of you, to the sport of track and field. You got a baton rolling away there.
Yeah, but I'll keep this near and dear.
Keep it near and dear,
exactly.
Handiwork. University of South Carolina, Curtis Fry.
Gamecocks.
Spent some time speaking, also in advertising, mass comms, Coca-Cola.
Okay, research.
4x1, you ran the prelims in Osaka 2007.
Yes.
They were able to go on and win the gold medal with your contribution there. And then also they were the team, obviously. And then Beijing 2008. Had a little handoff mishap by Tori Edwards, So you're no stranger to the experience of success either on the relay or failure in a sense. Track girls, you want to speak on that a little bit?
Yeah, Track Girls is my baby. I founded Track Girls in 2015. It's a nonprofit organization empowering girls through track and field. Track and field changed my life. I've been running track since I was 14. And, the data's out there on what it can do for girls mentally, physically, and socially. So we have workshops to provide direct mentorship to girls. And we also provide grants for girls to have direct access to the sport. So I'm super excited about what we do through that organization.
And where is the organization based?
Well, I live in Frisco, Texas, and we host workshops there, of course, but I travel. And so we've hosted workshops in over 20 states over the last 8 years. So wherever I go, Track Girls goes.
Okay, and I see you've sequestered the participation of fellow Olympians.
For sure. Yeah, everywhere we go, we want to make sure that we have a track girl to help have that direct influence and inspiration. And as long as I can use my network to give girls that direct access to high-level education, then I'm going to do that through these world-class athletes.
Okay. Now, Michael Marsh, the forgotten man, UCLA, John Smith, volunteer in 84 at 17, parking attendant to team participant. That's a short period of time. Don't worry, we got shovels for all the work. We got shovels.
Our cars at the volleyball venue. Yeah.
Okay. And 4 years later, an alternate for the Seoul Olympics on the relay. That was subsequently DQ'd. Now, the forgotten man. Talk to me about that, because that was interesting. I came across that in a sense. 92, you took gold in Barcelona in 200 meters, and it was interesting that they had given you a nickname even back then.
Yeah, they also called me unheralded because I came up from, kind of the bottom of the sport, so to speak. Walked on to UCLA, not a scholarship athlete. Even back in high school. I couldn't make the 4x1, so it's a bottom to close to the top kind of story. So yeah.
Okay, 92 gold on the 4x1. You were the first leg.
Right.
The gold out the hole there, and then silver in 96 in Atlanta, correct?
Right.
Okay, your third leg there, and you were inducted into the Hall of Fame for USA Track and Field in 2021.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
I remember that speech. It was a quite good speech, actually.
Well, thank you.
The adversity you face in the sport. So, the World Championships and your coaching career as it relates to relay coaches, the both of you has gotten off to a huge start. 2022, Oregon, home, and you took silver on the men's side in the 4x1.
And his first championship.
First championship as coaches, yeah. And then gold in the women's 4x1, bronze on the mixed relay. 4x4 gold on men and women's, and now here in Budapest, we've kicked it off with the 4x4 mixed relay, breaking the world record. Talk to us a little bit about what it's like to be a relay coach. Obviously, it's we started with the famous and infamous, and the buck of accountability starts and stops as the relay is concerned with the coaches and whether or not the baton makes it around the track. And for most people who don't know, you don't spend much time with the athletes. Most of the athletes on the relay are not athletes who are coached individually by you coaches. They have their own personal coaches, some of which you've competed against or with, and by way of a Dennis Mitchell or a Tanja Bailey or Buford Bailey, excuse me. And you spend limited time with these athletes. You have to put a relay of athletes together, basically in a matter of 3 weeks, whom you outside of viewing their statistics, don't know much about. Talk to us about that and the diversity behind that.
Man, where do we start? Relationship building, right?
Yeah.
Just understanding who they are throughout the year. It's important for you to go in and just know what they're great at. Like you said, we have a limited amount of time, and so accuracy is going to be key in the time that we have and put them in the best positions, and then adjusting from there. Of course, you make the decisions with the information that you have. And it's always, we try to make database decisions as best as possible and using our instinct as coaches where we can. So you find yourself in a mix of, just doing what you think is best and having everyone else having their opinions what they think is best. Mike, what do you say about that?
We aren't coaches in the traditional sense that other coaches are coaches. And, we don't build athletes, from the ground up. One of the coaches, I think, described that very well. He told me one day that we're like special teams coaches, on a football team, and so we come in and we coordinate the talent that's actually created and developed by other coaches. And so I think to the extent that, we understand that, it kind of helps us, in our job to know that first of all, we admit we don't know everything about the athletes. And so we collaborate with all the coaches, just like special teams, we talk to the head coach, the defensive coordinator, and they kind of figure out, hey, what are the strengths and weaknesses of the athletes and where might they best fit into a team. So that's what we do.
I like that analogy because you said special teams.
Yeah.
You all at the end of the meet, the beginning of the meet, all throughout it. And like a field goal kicker, the pressure's on you. When you all go out there and you do well, the world sings your praise. But you go out there and go have one botched handoff or anything that happens, you are the target of any hatred, negative comments, anything that they can think of, it's sent your way. And I know that's extremely stressful. So talk about that. How do you all, I know you, Mechelle, you're very animated, you're very passionate, you move around. And Coach, I've never seen you too high, I've never seen you too low. Totally different styles. So how
totally different. We talk about that all the time. Like, Mike is my anchor. I'm like, Mike, I think, and he's like, it's okay. We're doing the right thing. I'm like, yeah, you're right. Yeah, we are. But that's how we work together. It's a tremendous amount of pressure, but we use each other just to give, each other that just reminder that we are operating based on our values, and that's what we established working together for now the last year. One of those things is that, with the relay program, we all know it's interchangeable. From year to year, you're not going to know which athletes are going to make that team. And once we have them, we want to make sure that we're following our process. And so make sure that when we have them, what are we coaching? We need to make sure in the 4x1, they know our exchange zone process. So if we can stick to a process, establish the process, stick to that process, then we can have solace in whatever that result is. And that's what we've been learning about each other. But yeah, we are totally different. But he keeps me evened out for sure. But I keep him. I get him, a little excited too.
Yeah. You can say that. I think, it's in our jobs. You mentioned that. We get a lot of attention. It might be positive, it might be negative, it might be intensely positive, intensely negative. But what's important is to, I think as coaches, is to disassociate ourselves from everything that has nothing to do with the task at hand. To have that kind of focus, just like athletes. Two of us used to be athletes before, and so the important thing is to separate real issues from noise, and to the extent that we're able to make that dividing line and keep that, at the forefront, what we do and how we make decisions. I think that's better for Team USA.
And with that being said, I'm going to ask a question as if I was the average fan watching. You all have the 4 fastest people. Why is it not that easy?
Man, the 4 fastest people is one thing, but it's a critical value of speed and skill with the relays. And while speed is going to have a tremendous amount of value, the skill piece is also going to have a tremendous amount of value. So it's important for everyone to understand that, yes, while you may have the 4 fastest people, we're a leg-based program, and so who is good at first leg, who's good at second leg, and so on. But also the skill value, who can handle what we're looking for in the zones, who can keep the baton moving at a certain speed, who has great passing fundamentals, and all those things are just as critical as someone running a fast time. That speed that they may run, those tenths of a second that may separate one for athlete from athlete, could be made up in the zone by somebody who can move the stick a little bit faster than the next person. So it's just important for everyone to understand everything that goes into it and to respect the value of speed and skill when it comes to exchanges, especially in the 4x1. With the 4x4s, it's a little different. But still, it's still not just based on the 4 fastest, but you got to keep in mind time. Our championships may be a month away or 6 weeks away from by the time we get to our global championship. And so it's also important to see, on-site fitness and how athletes look by the time is day of competition. So a lot of those things, different factors go into those considerations when it comes down to that Final 4.
Beautifully said.
So, And how do you manage the public perception of the popularity contest associated with choosing legs? I mean, in one instance, it's based on who runs the best leg, and it's based on times, and it's very easy to say that, but most of these athletes don't actually run relays throughout the year. So, from a public standpoint, some would say that, hey, the most popular person is on the relay, or given an opportunity over a person who the statistics and the data point to as being the fastest. We know that we have a great deal of, capable athletes in the United States, and some of those athletes compete in events that, throughout the championship don't allot them the participation in the preliminary rounds in the relay. Now, we know in the past that hasn't discontinued those athletes from participating in the said relay, but what does that process look like? I mean, you have 6 people, a 6 relay pool that turns into an 8 relay pool that can sometimes turn into a 12-person relay pool. So how do you balance the attitudes of those athletes who feel like they deserve to be on there based on their individual performance, and then also that in relationship to the athletes you've worked with at practices in the 2-week period that you spend on site at a championship?
I think communication is a key. Intense communication, like over and over and over again, so that we over communicate what our intentions are. And I think, and also an emotional sort of standpoint or an emotional stance that leaves us free from the tyranny of other people's opinions. That's very difficult, to do, but it's a fundamental skill, of a relay coach. And you have to get to the point where you really, really don't care, what other people think about your decisions. And of course, you care about your reputation, you care about your integrity, and all those things. But there's no way around it. There's no way around the fact that everyone doesn't get to run. You cannot ignore that reality. It's the pink elephant, in the room, and we all have to deal with it. And I think if you surround those kinds of truths, with integrity, we can come out okay. There's going to be some static, here and there, but those are the requirements of a relay coach, and that's the job that we signed up for. And we also do it as a team.
And with that team aspect, I feel like you all are your own support system, and you have your ups and your downs, and do you all bounce ideas off each other? Do you help each other? I think Mechelle, you are the head coach of the women, and Coach Mike, you're the head coach of the men, but surely you collaborate through this process at some point. How does that work?
Yeah, well, we're each other's assistants. So, yeah, we definitely assist each other.
Reminds me of our relationship.
Well, Mike, gives me perspective, very, valuable perspective each and every day. And I hope I can say I do the same for him. we understand what it is to be in the bunker, and we really, truly get it. And now that we've been working together, we can, trust one another. And that's what's important about the relay program. Like, it starts with us, as leaders, and demonstrating how you communicate and how you trust one another, how you work together to get the result. And then we want the athletes to work that same way, trust us and trust one another. And communicate. And that's what's been working for us. And we just continue to develop that approach, and hopefully the results will reflect that.
Yeah, and I would just add, that I think that's a key part of the structure that USA Track and Field put together, to have two coaches who are each other's assistant coach, because it's our responsibility to model like what a team looks like. And the best way to teach people is not by opening your mouth, but by demonstrating, what you do and how you treat each other. And so it's my responsibility to, offer Mechelle the highest, level of respect. Sometimes I tell athletes, hey, I need to talk to Coach Mechelle, about this. And in those little subtle interactions, they learn how to work together with other people, because that's what a relay, is all about. The speed aspect is an individual aspect, but you have to figure out like how to gel and merge, and work well with others.
And I ran as well, so I can tell you this whole concept is completely different. You all are not just working with our elite level teams, you're working with our youth as well. And some of that work is starting to show. I think there are a few athletes that you might be able to highlight in individual events, maybe not in the relay pool. We won't ask you to get into the secrets and the details that you've worked with, but can you talk about some of the athletes that you've worked with from a young level?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Sha'Carri, ran third leg for us on the 2017 Pan Am Junior team, and TT on our World Junior team in Finland. And I'm sure I'm missing others. Matthew Bowling was on our, and then Alexis Holmes and Justin Robinson. They were all under 20 world record holders when it came time to look at who was going to perform for us in the mixed relay this year. So, that relationship and that understanding of what they can do at a championship level, a national team level, is important for us to, when we're evaluating, like you said, in the short time that we have with them. So when Alexis Holmes is able to do something like she did and perform and step up the way she did, I knew she was a championship runner for us before, so why would it be any different? So it's important for us, I think, and a great opportunity for us to work with the younger athletes as they turn into our senior athletes on teams like we're in now.
All right. Well, coaches, we wish you continued success. You definitely set the bar high with that world record in the mixed relay. So I think, expectations and pressure is mounting for sure.
Yeah.
And we thank you for joining us, and we wish you the best of luck, and the team the best of luck in the rest of this championship.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you.
Yeah.